Recording in progress.
There we go. Yeah, Roma, are we supposed to be hearing something? Roma, can you hear me? Can anybody else hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, can hear you. Yep.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
can hear you.
So Roma's the only one that can't.
Can
Well,
hear you.
great.
Hey, Marianne.
Hey, hi there. Hi, everyone.
I think while Roma troubleshoots whatever's going on for her, I will introduce, just introduce the workshop a little bit. And then if I get cut off, at least we'll have that part done. So I just want to welcome you all. And we're pretty excited about doing this webinar. And I'm sure that any minute now it will be going in full swing. I'm Ann Hackler. I'm the executive director of the Institute for the Musical Arts, and we're hosting it. Roma's on our board and has been since the beginning, and also teaches our studio recording program, which until the pandemic was mostly for young women, although we did a virtual one just recently for home studio recording, and that was open to the public. And I think some of you were in that. So Roma, are you ready now?
Yep. Just
Okay,
give
great.
me a high sign if
I am going to
it's all
hand it
going,
over to
and
Roma then.
we're gonna get started now.
Great.
Good evening. This is your captain. We are about to attempt a crash landing. Please extinguish all cigarettes. Place your tray tables in their upright lock position. Your captain says, put your head on your knees. Captain says, put your head in your hands. Captain says, put your hands on your head. Put your hands on your hips. This is your captain. We are going down. We are all going down together. And I said, uh-oh. This is gonna be some day. Stand by. This is the time. And this is the record of the time. This is the time. And this is the record of the time. This is your captain again. You know, I've got this funny feeling I've seen this all before. Why? 'Cause I'm a caveman. Why? 'Cause I've got eyes in the back of my head. Why? It's the heat. Stand by. This is the time. And this is the record of the time. This is the time. And this is the record of the time. Put your hands over your eyes. Jump out of the plane. There is no pilot. You are not alone. Stand by. This is the time. And this is the record
Good evening, big scientists. Did people have some trouble with glitching of the music, or not sure whether that's on the receiving end or the going end? Turn up the music. Yep. I think that's it for the music. Turn up here. So you can turn yourself up. Oh, turn up my voice. Oh, yes, there I am. It's not really the technology, it's that I'm a irredeemable mumbler. So I'll try not to do that. Hi, how's that? Better? Hear me okay? All right. So, Big Science was originally released in 1982 on vinyl. The record eventually went on a print, and a remastered version for CD was released in 2007. And a couple of months ago, on April 9th, we were very happy to see this a pretty stunning candy apple red version. Here it is. It's pretty good colors on the photo there. Released by None Such, and with the also lovingly restored cover art. And also happy to see it so well received. I'm getting all kinds of messages from people that can't hear, I can't see, using the desktop share. Desktop share, it's only showing iTunes right now. Okay, let's go back to share. I'm going to undo stop share, and then I'm going to go back to share, and then I'm using the desktop share. How's that? Okay, lots of instructions from all my co-producers. Okay, so the first 10,000 pressings sold up pretty quickly. It got very well received, and we were thrilled about that, especially that those Brits took it into the top 5 of the charts for briefly anyway in England. And the fact that it's out of print, that it's sold out now, anybody who doesn't have one, they're supposed to be doing another pressing, and the best thing to do is to check on Lori's her official site. So that's lorianderson.com. Buy it from there, and there's a few pieces of merch still there. So let's see, there I am. Oh my God, I have 7 co-producers. I wonder if I have to pay them all. Do I have deal memos with these people? I know I really appreciate the instruction. So of the press, I guess probably the most noteworthy was an article written by Margaret Atwood in The Guardian. And she says, among other things, Big Science has never been more pertinent than it is now. Right now, have a listen, confront the urgent questions, feel the chill. So tonight, we won't be doing much interpretation of the political meaning or the context, or feeling the chill, or answering the questions of why it was unique then and still relevant now. We're just going to talk directly about the process and what I remember about what happened, and the music, and not about the lyrics. I mean, Lori's lyrics, they certainly speak for themselves, and so we won't do much of that kind of interpretation. Also, I don't think I'll be able to play songs in their entirety, all of them, some maybe, and it would take up most of the time, and Zoom doesn't yield the best quality audio. So we'll talk about process, and also, about the fact that it was really an enormous amount of fun. We just let ourselves, have a stupid old time. And I think that most projects benefit from immensely from everybody having a good time doing them. And in terms of talking about what happened and how it went and the technology. We're really fortunate tonight to have Leanne Unger with us. And Leanne engineered the project. And I think we have Perry Hoberman with us, who is the assistant producer and art director. So I hope they, start contributing immediately and say anything they want anytime they want. In terms of questions, maybe after each song we could entertain a couple of questions, and then at the end there should be a quick Q&A period. With respect to From the Air, so it opens the album, and the first thing you hear is the vocoder. And we'll talk about the vocoder a little bit later. But all in all, it's not the least normal of the songs. It's got a regular drum beat. And I just wanted to just talk about just a little bit more about how the album came about, because I had been, of course, a super huge fan of Laurie's for some time, and got to do a few small projects with her. And then we did Oh Superman, and more about Oh Superman later. Suffice it to say that after its success, labels got interested, and even though most labels said it's 8.5 minutes and has no drums or bass, it's the best thing I've ever heard. But what am I going to do with it? And it won't get on the radio. But Warner Brothers, and especially Bob Regier in L.A. and Karen Berg here in New York, were supported it right away. And at the time, I thought, I had no idea how bizarre it actually was in 1980 to be starting a fairly high budget level, because people were paying money for records then, for a major label, 3 women. So me, Leanne, and Laurie were like, okay, I'm gonna make a record. And it was really thanks to Laurie. I mean, Laurie just said, no, I don't want to hear any of those guys' names. This is how I want to do it. And I think it's important to mention that, because of how it ties in with the work that IMA does still after all these years, teaching the skills and creating an environment to instill a self-confidence to be able to do what is still would be an unusual situation. So let's start with the technology. At the time, of course, no Pro Tools, no digital technology of the kind that you could, store multitrack on, and we worked on these things. they weigh 10 pounds. This isn't one of Laurie's. They weigh 10 pounds, and it's 2-inch multitrack. Leanne, can you say a few words about 2-inch multitrack and how much fun it is, and what the limitations are and so on compared to now?
It is very touchy. It's not like you turn on the record button and it basically sounds like what you're listening to. Digital's like that. Analog does the sound. So there's hiss, and you have to kind of optimize everything you record. Roma, do you have a picture of the console that was sitting in Laurie's loft?
I have some pictures. Let me share the screen again. And desktop here, I have you looking looking like you're about to do an edit on the 2-inch. I think you're trying to peel apart some
Got
splice
it
on the
all
tape
over
there.
the place.
And that might even be a 2-inch block there on the. And because the thing was so noisy, we had a nice quiet room, but with the right kind of sealed door, and but we couldn't put the machine in there because it was too noisy. So we had to put it outside and look at it through this kind of aquarium window that's behind Leanne. She had to struggle into the back of the window and look at the levels. We decided to do the project at Lori's loft and rented this machine. It was just too expensive to rent studio time, and we started without really knowing exactly what we were doing. And I think I have a picture of the board in somewhere here, but let me see if I can find one that, not of the board exactly, but it'll show up in one of these pictures. And let's see, here's the tape machine outside, Brandy, and there's Perry Hoberman dancing to it. And Leanne, like the whole process is exhausting her a little bit. And I don't see one of the console right now, Leanne. No.
Okay. So
Okay.
there was a big piece of equipment inside the recording chamber that's to my back, and that's where we would process the sound. We recorded it on the multitrack.
Right. Okay. So I just wanted to talk about the vocoder bit because it appears on 3 songs on the album. So it just was like a keyboard with a little mic on it. Now it's software, and the vocoder actually didn't start as a musical instrument. It was invented really in the 20s at Bell Labs, and it was a device whose function it was to make it easier to transmit telephone conversations by slicing up the input signal into smaller frequencies so that they had more bandwidth, less wiring, and then it was also used in the military. And basically, what the vocoder does is it blends 2 sources. So there's a little mic on the keyboard that Lori was using, and she could speak into it or sing into it, and the that first part of the signal is called the modulator. So and it provides an input signal which is then broken down into a number of bands, just like Bell's original design, using filters that kind of chop it up in series. And then there's a synthesizer component, and the synthesizer component uses a frequency analysis of the modulator. I'll stop talking like that in a minute. And Lori then, if she plays a chord on the keyboard, then it triggers the pitches that are being played, and so you get part real voice and part this processed keyboard sounding voice. And we were just thrilled with that. I've never heard a software one that sounds as good as that one. So, and of course, it featured in Superman. Okay, so one more thing about the music, and that is that sometimes people come in and they're going to play on something, they're going to do an overdub, maybe they're going to rehearse for a performance, and they think, oh, this music sounds pretty straightforward, and I can just come right in and I'll know where to come in and where to go out. So it's actually not particularly countable. It's not structured like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 bars, downbeats where the chord changes. And it's a big mistake to think that even the internal rhythms are simple. There's a lot of polyrhythms and a lot of very complex rhythms. And Lori is essentially performing a lyric that needs as much space as it needs, and people, cats, everything crawling around here, and so the lyric takes as long as it takes, and on different performances it might take shorter or longer, and it doesn't need to be crammed into bars, and the second thing is it's never the same twice. So, well, we'll refer back to that again in some of the pieces, but it's definitely a sort of classic musical aspect of certainly everything, most things on this record. So, next thing on the record is the actual title track, Big Science. And how am I doing? So I'm not going to play Big Science all the way through so that we have time, to do some other stuff. But I'm just going to say we have a wolf howl right in the beginning, and let me just share the screen and just play the wolf howl here and start the song so it reminds you which it is, and that is this.
It's cold outside. It's cold outside. Don't forget your mittens. Hey pal, how do I get to town from here? And he said, we'll just take a right where they're gonna build that new shopping mall. Go straight past where they're gonna put in the freeway. And take a left at what's gonna be the new sports center. And keep going till you hit the place where they're thinking of building that drive-in bank. You can't miss it. And I said, this must be the place.
And again, so sorry to do that to you. It's horrible stopping the songs. Um, what what I did want to tell you is a stupid story about the wolf howl. I got to the studio and we had this sound effects record. You could hear it scratched. Obviously, sound effects wolf howl. And I got to the studio and Laura was really excited. She had just made some calls, and for $1,000, they would bring a real wolf in a cage. For $1,000, they would absolutely guarantee that the wolf would howl. They would just bring the wolf to the studio, and we right away sat down and thought, "Wow, mic the wolf, and what kind of mic to use, and how long do you think it's going to take the wolf to howl?" And after a while, we were like so into it and excited, and we thought, "What are we doing? Poor wolf is going to sit here in a cage, while we're waiting for it to go ow, and that's it. It's not even a movie where he's going to star in it or anything." So we called them back and said, "I don't think so." And the other thing about big that I want to say about Big Science, and this I will play, is that when the CD was released, we did like a Big Science 2, cleverly called Big Science 2, and I guess it's kind of about what happened in that 25 years, and it uses the multitrack and then the original multitrack and then adds some elements. Anoni is singing beautiful harmony backup vocal part, and Lou Reed's playing some guitar, and so I'm going to play that. Actually, it was given away with the CD, but it wasn't on the CD, so you had to download it, and I think it's still available on iTunes and wherever else. So now I'm going to try to. Got it. Okay, the meeting's being recorded. Now I'm going to share the screen. See if I can do it right this time. Desktop. And here is Big Science 2.
Lights and satellites, roadblocks and sirens, loud alarms and red alerts.
I can't manage to do 17 things and not make at least one mistake, so bear with me.
Searchlights and satellites, roadblocks and sirens, loud alarms and red alerts. Look up at the plasma screen, listen to the way it screams, every man for himself. Every man for himself. And the wonder of it all, the size of it all, the superhighways, the networks, and the mall. Last days of the Renaissance, last dance before the dawn, last chance to get it all, 'cause we're making a sacrifice, our fortress, our paradise. It's gonna be so nice, like they say, only in America. And the wonder of it all, size of it all, superhighways, the networks, and the mall. And the wonder of it all, the size of it all. This is the time. This is the time. And this is the record. This is the time. And this is the record of the time.
Big Science 2. Okay, so moving along, after Big Science, the next song is Sweaters. And Sweaters is a song about falling out of love. And it features Rufus Harley playing bagpipes, and it's sort of like a bagpipe duet between Laurie and Rufus Harley. And David Van Teegum, who played drums on pretty much everything on the record, I think everything. And he's playing a drum solo kind of all the way through it. And let's see, I'm gonna get a photo of Rufus Harley up, but I'll do that as I play the track. So here is sweaters, share screen, share sound, blah blah blah, share desktop. Okay, so we had a little glitch there, did we? Nobody heard that?
No.
Okay, so I am sharing sound and I am sharing the screen. You know what I am going to do is give me 3 or 4 minutes here, and I'm gonna go and get in a different way. So, Anne, are you still there?
I am.
So I need to get into the session differently. So just take 5 minutes, everybody. I'll be right back.
Well, if anybody has any questions about IMA, feel free to ask. And I think also, Roma, do you want us to put questions in the chat? Have people put questions in the chat? Or do you want to just wait? Oh, I think she's totally gone.
Yeah, that looks like a frozen image.
Yeah, that definitely looks gone.
Well, we had Lori for a minute, but I think she's gone also.
And my question was, who was the wolf? I guess we'll have to wait till
It was the wolf.
Lori
The
or
wolf-
Roma come back.
Was from a
Oh,
sound
well,
Yeah,
from a soundtrack. Oh, Leanne, go ahead.
but it didn't sound like an animal. It sounded like a human.
well, that's the genius of Lori. You got to pick the right.
All right. right, so let's see if this works any better. I just changed a bunch of stuff here. So I would like to play that Rufus Harley song. Let's see where our time is doing. Wait, I think we're okay. And I will try that one more time. So share screen, share sound, and this time wave your arms madly if you're not hearing it this time instead of sitting. And let's say, got this, and Google Page.
I no longer love your mouth. I no longer love your eyes. I no longer love your eyes. I no longer love the color of your sweater. I no longer love it. I no longer love the color of your sweater. I no longer love the way you hold your pen and pencil. I no longer love it. Your mouth, your eyes, the way you hold your pen and pencil. I no longer love it. I no longer love it.
Okay, Rufus Harley. And I am going to, I see that we have another surprise guest here. Hi, Lori, are you on?
I'm here. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Where
How's
are
it
you? What
going?
are you doing? Are you in DC?
I'm in DC. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you enjoying our technical difficulties?
I am.
Good.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
nice to see somebody else do
Yeah. No,
it.
it's fun hearing this stuff.
Yeah, it is actually.
Hmm.
Um,
I was
any?
enjoying that Big Science remake, and
Yeah, right.
I was like, yeah, that was about that was George Tro, who is the reason I wrote that. With his book Within the Context of No Context, and I thought suddenly how much about that. I gotta get my sound down here. Having a technical problem. um, so it was fun to hear that. Yeah.
You got to.
And Oni doesn't remember doing that at all.
No, I don't remember doing any any of this, but a little bit from having just tried to put it in order here. But so what are you doing in DC?
Working on a show for the Hirshhorn Museum.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
big.
is he working on the Hirschhorn thing?
Yeah, it's a picture that opens in September. So it has a whole lot of stuff in it, and music also. But it's got a lot of big paintings. It's got oh gosh, a bunch of films and sculpture, and we got yeah, just yeah, a mixture of things. Frankly, it looks kind of like a group show, but it's just my stuff. It's like I never really have stuck to a subject, so it's fun to put it together. Anyway,
The
uh,
this
thanks for
album
doing
sort
this
sure.
project. It's really great to hear your thoughts on making a record.
It's the album's sort of like a group show too. It's also, everything's so different, but of course, it hangs together amazingly. Just let's see. So the next thing on the album is Walking and Falling. And I think I'm going to move along, even though it's short. Sometimes it makes me cry, so I don't feel like crying right now. What is the I wanted you and I was looking for you all day, but I couldn't find you. Although now, in the context of 40 years, walking and falling sort of means something different. And I was looking for you all day, usually is about my car keys. I couldn't find you and I couldn't find you. So maybe I won't cry anymore over it. Except the images in the United States Live were really beautiful for this. I remember they were um, they were um, pillows with crisp white pillowcases, and they. Okay, let's see. I'm getting more producers writing to me here. So, can you hear me? Can people hear me?
You could turn up. Your voice went down again. I think that's
Okay, I went back to my mumbling. Okay, now I'm good. All right. So I think instead of continuing to yap, let me move to another song. Um, the thing on the song on the that closes this side of the album, "Born Never Asked." Um, there just a little marimba story I want to tell. It's got a marimba part that's just a repeated G, boom, 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 and David Van Tegan was going to play it, but it wasn't going to change. It was just going to be that G, and so having no marimba in the studio, I went out into the music instrument rental world in New York City and tried to find a marimba. And I had a little, my little stick, and I went to the first place, and I just played the G and nothing else. Not very virtuosic. Just went like G, 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 and it sounded, cloudy and dull and funky. And I said, I'm afraid that won't do. He said, won't do what? The rental guy. I said, no, that's okay. And I went to another place and the G sounded pretty good. So we got that one. And it's on a couple of things. It's on Born Never Asked, and it's also on Let X Equal X. And uh, the that's another one I think just because we're getting a little later here, and want to leave some question time. I won't play that now. The one that I do want to play is so we're going to do Superman at the end, and after Superman is this Beispiele Nummer 22, another big hit, but it's one of my favorites. It's examples of paranormal recorded voices. Is that Lord? Is that how you remember it?
Yeah, I had a collection of ghost voices,
Right.
and they were it was a German collection that I really loved. And this is Paranormal Tonbandstimme, paranormal voices, and they're like, hey, holy, and it's just like your silly cartoon ghost voice, but they were supposedly recorded in all over Germany in the last whatever, maybe it was over like 20 years, but they were, I don't know how they got the ghosts to do this and get the recording equipment at the right time for the ghosts. But it was one of my favorite records. And
What I remember, Laurie,
yeah,
what I remember is that the way they got the ghost voices is they recorded a recording of a recording of a recording of a recording,
yeah.
and then the voices would emerge. So they're just recordings of like just room tone, and then the more generations they go through, the more weird artifacts appear, and that's what the ghost voices
Yeah,
were.
so it really was Alvin Lucy that did this project. Yeah, they did try to. I think that's they. Was it that? Was it? Oh, how much? Do you remember how much time it was?
No, and I don't remember that thing of it being all over Germany in 20 years. I just remember that it was a project that somebody did where that was the process. So it's sort of anyone could do it.
Oh, I remember it being somebody's project that went over a long period of time, though.
Oh, it may well have. I just don't remember that part.
But I'm sure you're right about leaving the microphones up for like whatever a certain amount of time, like a week or so, and building up. So, but
it was definitely a lot of work.
Don't you remember a bunch of those being sort of word-like? I mean, we listened to a few of them. I mean, it did sound like voices to me.
It was that phenomenon where you sort of, your brain kind of fills it in. It's enough like a particular sound that if somebody suggests what they're saying, you hear that.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, I remember it was an amazing record.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to that record. I'd really love to find that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just imagining trying to get a headphone mix for a voice. I mean, for a ghost.
Yeah. Well, we used a backwards text on that, which was it was.
Oh yeah, I have that. I flipped the multitrack around.
Yeah. So it was I don't remember why it was written in red magic marker. Was the lyric? Do you, Perry?
No.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It was something about something we were doing in the studio with red magic marker. You and me doing something like making graphs of something of some of the lyrics or something.
Probably,
I think.
Probably.
Yeah, that sounds right, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So here it is, and I'm gonna share the screen, and this kind of an assortment of great horn and wind players. I'm playing accordion on it, and I'll play the backwards thing at the end.
Beispiele paranormale Tonbandstimmen. Was sind paranormale Tonbandstimmen? Es sind Stimmen unbekannter Herkunft. Es sind paranormale Tonbandstimmen.
Ihren Klang. Ich verstehe die Sprachen. Ich verstehe die Sprachen nicht. Ich höre nur ihren Klang.
So low. Honey, you're my one and only. So pay me what you owe me. The lights are going down slowly. In the woods, the animals are moving. In my dreams, you're talking to me. Your voice is moving through me. You talk as if
them parents of the destiny, accomplish 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 them parents of the destiny.
Beispiel Nummer 22.
The sun is shining slowly. The birds are flying so low. Honey, you're my one and only. So pay me what you owe me.
I remember discussions on how long that vamp should go on.
It was in red magic marker, and it said it was in red magic marker, and it said it was in red magic marker, and it said it was in red magic marker, and it said it was in red magic marker, and it said it was in red magic marker.
That was a Jamaican woman that we recorded doing that. And she was one of the ones who did Dark Thoughts American Dreams. And also, all those backwards things were things we were working on with for tapo violin. We were collecting all these things that would go backwards and forwards for that project.
That I don't remember one bit. Huh. Well, yes. What I do remember, and it came back to me as I was listening, was that we were later we recorded United States Live 1 through 4 at BAM, and I remember I had to rush in and play the accordion on this through 4 feet of snowbanks, and so somehow or other when I listen to it, it reminds me of wet feet because I had to run down the block and in the stage door and play the accordion.
Live music.
Music. So let's see. The next thing is Let X equal accent. That started as a. I think the first real recording was the flexi disc for Art Forum. I have actually a little somewhere here. I have a little picture of it. Flexi disc. There it is. Art Forum. Can you see that?
Yes.
And you'd even see a little perforation along here where you'd rip it out of the magazine and then put it on your turntable. I couldn't find a magazine copy, but that's it. And Let X equal X at the time. I think let's move on and talk about Oh Superman, because playing Let X equal X with the other song sort of takes a while to play. Is there anything in particular about Let X equal X, Lori, that you remember? I'm going to do
Ingrid Sishi, the one who asked me to do that project and for Art Forum. And she was such a wonderful editor, and this was a crazy idea that she had. And so I remember thinking it was not going to work very well.
Yeah, worked fine. Somehow you got muted there. I don't know why. Will you unmute yourself, Lori? Yeah. So you know what I'll do though? I did manage to find this in the multitrack. Is George Lewis's trombone part isolated. So I'm just going to play that so that when you listen to it, you'll be able to pick this out. George is now a professor of American music at Columbia University. He's the area chair in composition and faculty in historical musicology. And he just walked into this session with like notes all over a piece of paper, eight notes, like strange places, and played these 3 tracks. And this is what he played. It's in the kind of in the transition in let x equal x. A crazier part I think I've never heard. Somebody walking in for a session going, I'm just going to do these one at a time.
I remember the end expression when she's recording this. She's just like, okay. And he goes, another track. And she goes, okay.
Okay. Okay. That'll fit right in there, I'm sure. Oh, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. So let's go to Superman, because I have I'm going to play the video instead of just the audio. So probably a lot of people haven't seen the video, and Perry, maybe you can talk to us a little bit about the video before we start. And let's see. Prior to that, let's see what I talked about. Oh, I know. I have something here. Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. So Lori, rather than me yapping about this, do you want to tell us, like, there was a version by I listened to a Placido Domingo version because I couldn't find a version by was it Charles? What was the name of the original?
Charles Holland.
Charles Holland, right?
An amazing singer, black singer, opera singer. Couldn't get work in the U.S., so was an expat. Was working in Amsterdam, and I went to a concert. Piano and voice, Massenet, was the plan, and Charles. I mean, I've heard this piece several times, but Charles sang it like he sang it like a gospel. He sang it like the prayer it is. And the Placido Domingo, I mean, those other guys were like, but Charles sang it like a Southern American who really was praying. He did the gospel version of Massenet, and it killed me. I was like, I never heard anything like that. It's a prayer. It's asking, it's asking for help, basically. And I felt like an expat myself, because I was working more in Europe than the U.S. and doing stuff there. But that was the inspiration of the song, "Au souverain juge au père," and anyway, but Perry, you should talk about how we were thinking about the video and what we were how it shaped up, maybe.
As much as I can remember it. I mean, it was basically, it was a very early music video, and we didn't know what music videos were. They didn't really exist. And so we storyboarded, it was extensively storyboarded because we had limited time, and were we out in New Jersey in it? Where was that studio? The stage?
No, we weren't in Jersey, but I can't remember the studio.
And and Joshua White was there. He was directing it, but he didn't actually have a clue what we were after either. So we ended up just kind of ignoring him a lot of the time. And it was a bunch of setups, and it was just, I remember just like that there was something just so liberating about the fact that it was just, it didn't have to actually illustrate the song, and it didn't have to follow like the rules of cinema or anything. So we threw in all this stuff. And I know we had already done Oh Superman in a lobby, and we had made the cover of that became a big part of the video as well, with the Arm & Hammer image. And trying to remember what, I mean,
A lot of that came from the live thing, which you and I worked on tour, which was you set up a projector so that I would be able to play this just with my left hand, and then once in a while come down with the right hand, because the right hand was doing this gesture with making a shadow, which was blending into your stuff with the duck's foot dissolving images behind. So this was a song that had been worked out for a long time live, and so the graphics and the images from the video were things that we did with a lot of your animations, and then you did a lot of the you did the world turning around animation and turning.
I'm sure once we watch it, I'll remember some other stuff.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it in probably
45 years.
I don't know when I last saw it.
Oh, this will bring it all back.
But yeah, why don't we look at it, Roma? You're muted. Roma, you're muted.
Roma, you're muted.
There you go.
Yeah, it's hard for me to share screen and unmute. So, okay. So I remember lying kind of under the camera where I made a score of the 17 and 11 and 4 and stuff, and going like so to do the video. And the one thing that I wanted to say for I had invited Richard Factor. I don't know if he's here, but the Haas, in case people don't know, it was kind of a new box, and we explored everything it did. It changed the pitch of the vocal, but it had a little button, and you would say ha or who or whatever, and it would grab it and then just repeat it. And I think it was a third of a second, and I don't think it had much variation on that. So that's where the hot track comes from. And let's just play the video. Let's plug it. Let me see. Share screen. Share myself.
Oh, Superman. Oh, John. Oh, Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad. Oh, Superman. Oh, John. Oh, Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad.
Hi. I'm not home right now.
want to leave a message, just start talking at the sound of the tone. Hello? This is your mother. Are you there? Are you coming home? Hello? Is anybody home? Well, you don't know me, but I know you, and I've got a message to give to you. Here come the plane. So you better get ready, ready to go. You can come as you are, but pay as you go. Pay as you go. And I said, okay, who is this really? And the voice said, this is the hand that takes. This is the hand that takes. This is the hand that takes. Here come the planes. They're American planes, made in America. Smoking or non-smoking? And the voice said, neither snow nor rain, nor blue night shall stay these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed round. Cause when love is gone, there's always justice. And when justice is gone, there's always force. And when force is gone, there's always mom. Hi, mom. So hold me, mom, in your long arms. me, Mom. And your long arm. In your automatic car. Your electronic arms in your arms. So hold me, Mom, in your long arms. Your petrochemical arms. Your military arms. In your electronic arms.
Perry, does that jog your memory?
A little bit. I mean, mostly I just remember how difficult that was to do, and how every single setup was just, I mean, it's the kinds of things that you could do without thinking now. I mean, we had, but it was just like projectors weren't bright enough, and you get like even lighting, like to do that red thing at the end. I remember it was really hard getting the discs to spin at the right rate. Yeah, I just remember it being just, and the snow falling, I remember, was like, we went through so much trouble with that, and it just looks like just drops of stuff falling. I mean,
that was one of my favorite parts, because all those things that were you playing the flute and your animations. So I always think of you in those sections. Yeah. And it's funny, like when we saw the when it got the vax at the Javits Center, and I saw their image, which is like blah, with the Band-Aid on a big arm. I thought, I have seen that somewhere before, and so that's when we decided to do. We played there at the Javits Center for the people who just gotten their vax, because I thought, big pharma, there it is. This is a song about America and what it means to live here, and what it means to have. It's a song about power. And anyway, it was. I mean,
I know that in some of the more recent like commentary on it, they brought out how prescient it is, but I remember it just seeming like so of the moment at the time. I mean, it just was. It wasn't as though that was sort of a more innocent time. It really was ominous, and that song really captured a lot of that. So I mean, and it's funny how it really, I mean, it's a music video, but music videos went in a totally different direction than that video, because it's basically just, it's almost like a haiku or something. It's so simple.
Yeah, music went in a different direction. I was hoping people would make like political sort of like love songs for countries and different things, not just like, I'm here sitting along reading my, like singing my love song in my room, but not that those aren't great songs too. I mean, they're great, but I was hoping there'd be more electronic stuff. That's why when I saw this movie, Sisters with Transistors, that just came out, I was like, whoa, this is like a whole other thing that was going on during this time, and it was just not labeled. You know, a lot of people, women especially, working with electronics, and it hadn't been defined. And then this movie suddenly defined it, and it was all these people that you'd see all the time on that, you know, Suzanne Ciani, Laurie Spiegel, Jan Redig, all these great pioneers of electronics, and their story had never been told. And I was part of that thing, but it was because it didn't have a label, it didn't exist, you know.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, I'm trying to, I mean, I remember like trying to get things, the lighting to work. And I mean, that shot where your head is illuminated and your body isn't. That
and the
was
snowman you made this melting. I said, Perry, can you make like I just want to melt. And you were like, okay, let's do like a melting snowman. And you would do that really fast. It was kind of amazing. You would come up with these things on the spot because we had to do things very, very quickly, and you were very, very quick.
Yeah. No, it was, I mean, and it's interesting because it's just like we were sort of pushing the limits of what we had. And now it's just like, I don't know, it makes you kind of think what you could do with what you have now if we weren't trying to just show off everything with what we have now, you know?
Well, the thing is, though, that's really the beauty of it. I mean, you look at the sand person and the sand sort of vanishing, and how, you know, how you would do that, you know, just electronic.
Well, now you would
in a minute, you know.
Now you'd sand off all the raw edges.
Yeah,
sure that it wasn't the top. It would.
This was real sand being blown away. So it's, you know, completely everything. It's, you know, and the smoke is real, and it's just going through an actual real hole, and you know,
smoke was just crazy. I mean, that smoke was just. We spent a long time on that, just trying to get it to. Just to record smoke. And I mean, just like, I guess we were able to superimpose stuff to some extent, but it was only like one, you had to freeze one to get the other to play on top of it or something. It was something like that. Anyway.
So we're kind of getting near the end here, and just wondering if anybody has any questions to direct at anybody. Frozen in their mutes. Went on long enough to freeze everybody. One question is, when are the new albums coming in? I tried to find out for today, but just keep an eye on Laurie's website. Were you going to ask something, Georgine?
I was just hoping Laurie could say that she was inspired by the water skiing we did out at the North Fork. Just a joke.
By the what?
Oh, years and years ago, you were out visiting Roma in the North Fork, and we went water skiing.
Yeah, I'm sure she was.
Anyway,
Yeah.
no.
I remember her mentioning
that
it,
inspires me. I just want to go back in time and find the album and listen to it again and again and again. Utterly brilliant.
So good. So I had a really good time looking for stuff in my basement, and I found things like when we first did Superman, it was, sorry.
Roma, it's Ada with a question.
Oh yeah, great.
Okay, I didn't understand the music, because in the performance, I see Laurie at a keyboard. And when I look at the credits, it says that you're on an organ. And then I know she went on tour sometimes and you weren't there. So how how did it happen that it could sound on the road how it sounded on the album?
Well, you know, some of the stuff on the road did have people, and Lori got a rig where she could do, you know, more of the parts, and sometimes I did join her and play my bass part. So you know, all different answers to that question.
Yeah, you have to always improvise on the road. So
Yeah.
sometimes you heard many different versions of it. Sometimes the flute part was played by keyboard or by nobody, or, you know, it was always different.
I mean, when we were touring at the beginning, when it was just you and me and sometimes Bobby, I would be in the back running the projectors, and then 2 or 3 times during the show, I'd always have to plan my escape route to get up to the stage, and I'd appear on the stage and play flute and saxophone while somebody else. That was my job, was to train somebody else to run the projectors when I was playing on stage.
And I had the same experience doing some stuff when I was doing it in a house, and then I would set it up and run down the hallway and try not to get lost getting on stage and doing the part.
But it did, I mean, it did, the thing is that the album did capture a lot of what the live performances were like, I thought. I mean, I think that was a big part of what we were thinking when we made it, is how do you actually like make a record of something that's more than that, more than what you can put on a record.
Yeah, I was at the 1983 concert in London, and I went looking for Roma, and they said she's not here, and I was like, well, how could it happen?
Actually, I was there, maybe not right at that moment.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I asked Roma here, and they said no, so I thought you didn't go.
No,
Oh
that
well.
was the United States Live. No, we did that in London. I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And in Paris, and trying to figure out how to say compressor in French. You know, lots of fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to show you this thing I found, which is for the original pressing. I found this is the lacquer test pressing of a Superman, and then this is the positive that they made of it. So you couldn't play this, right? It's a positive, and then there's these two things which are stampers, and they put molten vinyl in between them and stack them up and then press them together, and that's what actually made the original the little teeny record. So that was fun to find.
There are a couple of questions in the
40
chat.
years. Yeah.
There's a couple of questions in the chat.
Jeanette chat. Okay, let's look at the chat. Yep.
About
Chat.
all drums and percussion were overdubs. Was anything played together?
Yeah, I think lots of things were played together. The many of the horns that appear played together, and together with what is also the question. Together, Lori, do you remember?
Wasn't much an ensemble thing, it was overdub thing, right, Leanne? I mean, we were always like overdub.
Well, mostly certainly percussion overdubs. Might have been some horns played together. And I mean, we were also doing things like telephones and, you know, taking things off the tape and forward. Lots of elements. Bagpipes.
I noticed, I was looking at the credits on Wikipedia, and I'm credited with playing piccolo, but I don't remember playing piccolo.
Yeah.
You play piccolo?
I
I've
had
never even heard you play piccolo.
I know I had a piccolo at the time, and I could barely play it, but maybe I made some noise on it or something.
You must have. Like, on what song do you think?
No idea. certainly not Oh Superman.
I remember Piccolo. Maybe it's because you're so tall and your flute looks so
Who thought
small.
a flute was a piccolo?
So there's a
That's
question
it.
about
All right.
sweater.
Oh, sweaters. Yeah.
How much a sweater was brought in and how much was constructed during the recording process? And what was that process like? That seems like a big question.
Yeah, Lori.
With,
yeah.
with that soprano, Leon, what do you remember about the soprano?
I don't. In fact, we played it just now. That really surprised me.
Yeah, I remember trying to find a soprano in Zurich and London who would jump off the end of a diving board as well as play that one, sing that one note in sweaters. So the audition was when you like, "Ah!" and then we also jump off the end of a diving board. And there were some game sopranos, they would, you remember those auditions?
I always thought that the game sopranos were just sort of shocked by the suggestion. So they're like, a diving board you want? And no, sure, diving board is fine. They just wanted the gig. I remember you walking off the edge of walking all the way to the ramp like a diving board. It was more like a runway, and you were wearing those the white glasses. And I thought, there's got to be like little tiny holes in them or something that you can see. And I think at the end of the show, I put them on and you completely couldn't see anything. Place is pitch black, and you're wearing glasses you can't see through, and it's like a 12-foot fall from that. From that. Oh my God!
I think that song was called "Lean Out for the Territories," and it was a Huck Finn song. It was about like going out where you didn't know what would happen. I could see down a little bit.
You also went on the diving board with the headlights and went off the end of the diving board into the orchestra pit at BAM during a rehearsal.
That
was, yeah.
Oh.
What?
But I was still playing, no? What an idiot.
No, you're not. Brilliant.
There's a couple of other questions about mostly historical artifacts. Someone wants to know if there are any recordings of the sessions and where will all that cool stuff be archived?
I think we didn't have our iPhones yet, and I think at one point I had some giant camera, but I would have been too busy to bring it into a session. I didn't tape any of it. Did you?
It was a different era too.
Different era, yeah.
You wouldn't bring a camera to a studio. That'd be an invasion.
Yeah, this is it, guys. And
that
in
was
terms of
great.
archiving, no, Lori unfortunately lost a lot of stuff in the Great Flood.
Fortunately. Hurricane Sandy wiped me out like of a lot of stuff, and what a relief! Oh, ooh.
I'll put in a plug for the NYPL to archive your stuff, but that's a conversation to be had.
That's a conversation to have after I'm dead, but bye.
No, we don't want that, Lori. We want to talk sooner than that.
Well, and the public library is a great place now. They're gonna taking a lot of stuff now. We worked for a long time to get Lou's things there, and now we're gonna have a big exhibition of his work with collaborators next on his 80th birthday, and we're gonna have Hal Milner's studio reconstructed in the show. Hal was Lou's best friend, his producer, and he had a crazy studio full of puppets and full of like millions of records, millions of beautiful records. And So we're reconstructing that with every single detail in the New York Public Library. Starts in March. And also, it looks like Doc Thomas's things are going to go there. It looks like a bunch of other things. Once it makes his way over to the library, a lot of people will follow. So hopefully there'll be a really interesting archive of New York musicians of all types, and hopefully that'll be. I mean, my interest in the library was to have kids be able to go there, and you could not, without being an archivist with a white glove person, anyone go in and hear any tape that Lou ever made.
And there
Not every, but that is in the collection.
Lou used to leave the mics running while they were screwing around in the studio. So we've got tens of thousands of hours digitized for people to come in and listen to anytime they want. So yeah, and we will be open to the public again really soon. I mean, we already are, but really soon it'll be back to normal. I can't publicize the date yet because it hasn't been publicized, but it's really soon. So we're really looking forward to the exhibition and the conversations for bringing in new materials. It's a conversation I want to have with you too, Anne. Because we've got
Everybody feeling well?
Yes, very much.
So I guess we might bring this to a close. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to everyone for coming, and I'm really glad to see so many people I know, but haven't spoken to a while, and it's so great to see you here. And especially thank you to Leanne and Perry and to Lori for joining in and participating. So working on this and listening to things over and over and looking through those multi-tracks and remembering that time period. I also remember how incredibly lucky I was to get to do a project like this, and how formative it was really for me to work with Lori and Leanne and everybody on the team, and it and over the years it's been a really important part of my life, and friendships that began around that time, really important part of my life, and so thank you.
Yeah, we were all really lucky. Thanks.
This is the time, and this is the record of the time, and this is the end of the record of the time. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks, Roma and Lori and everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for contributing. And also, I just want to say, I just found this. This is the art form.
Oh my God! Wow, can you turn it to the page?
I think it's page 77. It said I must have pulled out the thing and the record, so it's not on the original page that it was on.
Oh, I see, but it's still stuck in there. Great. Oh, that's great. Someone who keeps everything.
Yeah, Anyway, I almost threw it away. I had to write on the front why I had it, why I'd kept it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you, everyone.